Well, hello people on the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. Okay guys, so for today's video I am bringing you guys a Halloween book recommendations video because we are currently in Halloween month, October. I love October so much. It is one of my favorite times of the year because I just love Halloween. I love dressing up and I'm sure a lot of you know how seriously I take Halloween. If you follow me on Snapchat, Twitter or Instagram, any of those three, you will know that I go very hard when it comes to Halloween and I go all out with my costumes. And this year will be the exact same, except I still don't really know what I'm going to dress up as. That's besides the point anyways, because this video is not about what Kevin's going to dress up for Halloween, it's about a Halloween book recommendation. So I have for you guys 6 books that I would recommend to read around Halloween because they're like Halloween-y themed. They're like related to Halloween, or they're scary, or they just have creatures that you would relate to Halloween because people are always dressing up as them and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into the recommendations. The first book that I'm going to talk to you guys about is one you've probably already read, but you can always reread it. Like, who doesn't mind rereading? And that is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, and this is just City of Bones, the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. And I would recommend you reading this around Halloween because this series features demons, angels, shadow hunters which like defeat demons, there is werewolves, vampires, just everything, and there's like fairies. There's just so many things in this series that you would relate to for Halloween, and it just has a lot of like Halloween creatures in here, so I think it's a perfect book to read around Halloween time because you're just in the mood for that kind of thing anyways. So the series just really works well to read it around Halloween. And yes, if you haven't read it already, I would definitely recommend to read it, but if you want to reread it for Halloween, I think that would be a great idea. So moving on to the next book, we have a book that I know a lot of you have probably read, and you've probably reread it like a billion times also, just like me, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stones as I would say it. Do I even need to explain why I think you should reread Harry Potter during Halloween time? Like, it has wizards, witches, it just has a lot of things in it that fit the Halloween genre, and it's always great to reread Harry Potter, and I always think it's a great time to either read it around Christmas or Halloween. That's usually when I like to reread it because I am currently reading Prisoner of Azkaban at this moment, and I do think it's a great idea to read it around those times. So if you wanted to find something to reread this Halloween, I would recommend reading one of the Harry Potter books. Okay, so now we're moving on to ones that maybe you haven't actually read. The first one I'm going to start with is Say Her Name by James Dawson, who is now Juno Dawson because the author is transgender. So if you don't know what this book is about, this book follows 3 friends who are dared to do the Bloody Mary challenge. And if you don't know what that is, that's when you stand in front of a mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times, and then apparently she like appears behind you, or she terrorizes you for like the next few weeks. And that's exactly what happens in this book. So honestly guys, when I say this, I genuinely was terrified when reading this book. Like, it's not even that scary, but it's just so creepy. You could just picture everything perfectly, and I don't know how Juno Dawson did it, but it was amazing how she managed to create this like creepy vibe through words. Like, it blew my mind at how creepy it was, and I was just very, very impressed. And I think I might actually reread this month, but I know how creepy this book is and I don't want to jump back into that world because I was a mess when reading this. I was so scared. There's one scene in particular in this book, and there's something coming up a bed, and it terrified me because I was actually reading it when I was in bed. It's very creepy, very scary, but it also has a very interesting plot to it and a really good storyline. So I would recommend it, and it's just perfect for Halloween because it's scary, it's creepy, it's got everything you need for Halloween. The next book that I would recommend is Miss Peregrines Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book is very creepy in a sense that it has lots of different creepy photos in it, and I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about this book anyways. But let me try to show you some creepy photos. Like, they just have creepy photos in here, and I do think it's a very good read to read around Halloween. I have always read any of these books around Halloween, and I'm still yet to finish this series because it is a trilogy, and I'm still yet to read the 3rd book. So I think I might read the 3rd book this month because I love this series so much and I need to finish it. If you don't know what this book is about, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you do because it's very hyped, this follows a guy named Jacob who goes to this island where his grandfather has told him all about these peculiar children that live in this house, and they all have like different abilities and powers about them. And yes, I don't want to say much more about that because I didn't know much going into it, and I would recommend you do the exact same if you haven't read it. And it's just a very good book for Halloween. As I said, the pictures are really creepy. Also, stuff that happens in it is kind of creepy and messed up, so it's perfect for Halloween. The next book that I want to recommend to you guys is Sick by Tom Levine. This book features zombies, which is a very fun thing to read about, and I love zombies myself personally. I would be terrified if they did take over the world and there was a zombie apocalypse. However, I do like to read about them and I find them very terrifying. So this book follows basically a school that just gets overrun by zombies because the world has now turned into a zombie apocalypse, and these kids are all in their school, and our main character's ex-girlfriend and his sister are trapped in the PE hall while he is trapped inside the drama department. And basically he needs to get to his sister so he can obviously save his sister, and he obviously wants to save his ex-girlfriend because you know that Boo still got feelings for her. So he basically tries to save them while he wants to save all of his other friends from all these zombies that are all over the school, and literally they are the most craziest zombies I've ever read about. So this is one I would definitely recommend for Halloween, and it is just a perfectly bloody, disgusting book to read, and it's a very quick read and it's a standalone, so it's very fun to read. The final book that I recommend to you guys is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Now this book in particular isn't really scary or anything like that, but it does have like a monster who kinda is creepy, but then again it's not really scary, but I just think it's a really good book to read around Halloween. This book is about a boy named Connor who is visited by this monster who tells him stories, and the final story has to be told by Connor, who has to tell him his fear. So yeah, I don't really want to give you guys too much about this book because this book is an absolutely amazing book, and if you have not read it or seen the movie for it, I would highly recommend you read it this Halloween because it's absolutely beautifully written. The story is gripping, it is heart-wrenching, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. I could not recommend it enough for you guys, and I just think it's a really good book to read around Halloween because of like the stories that are told and also the monster vibe. It's kind of like a creepy vibe, but he's not really scary. He's a friendly giant, you know? So guys, they are all of the books that I would recommend for you to read this Halloween month. Let me know down below some books that you would recommend to read this Halloween, and also let me know down below what you're going to dress up as for Halloween because I'm very interested about that. And other than that, I will see you all in my next video. So goodbye guys.